thing is, he's crying. He is so passionate that we need to take guns away from people. Although we can talk about his executive orders and what it didn't do.
Let's move into that. Yeah. But
what?
You said he could cry about that or not. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Move on.
Well,
I'm done.
Let's talk about some of the things where he wants more gun sellers to be licensed, but he doesn't say what defines a gun seller. I will tell you.
Well, you know it when you see it. It's like pornography.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
You know it when you see it.
I'm going to say what the law says right now, or at least the regulation, which isn't really a law. So it says a regulation, not a statute, which can be changed by administrative procedure without Congress, and that says that the
meaning
definition...
executive order. Or a change in the department, but Obama could write an executive order to change that.
Yeah. Which it's... I thought I had it, but I must have lost it.
What?
I thought I had... what the definition was, but it's not. The thing that's going around is if you sell more than 25 in a year. And now I think with the definition said, if it's a substantial, portion of your living and blah, 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 and you have so much inventory and all that.
Yeah.
He wants to change that. So are you and I going to be able to sell our guns to, your cousin Bill or... to your neighbor without a background check?
Look, that's what licensing is for, right?
Yeah, and it's not a background check. You'd have to register all guns to do that. That's why it's unenforceable.
What?
How are they going to know whether a background check has been done or not?
Okay, yeah, but you said it's not a background check. You have to register all guns.
No, well, you said licensing, and I said, you'd have to have registration in order to do background checks.
To enforce
it.
That, you would have to, and you would have to do something with people that don't comply and don't register their guns. Somehow you'd have to find that out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right. And even if I suspect, they said, you sold a gun to Nate. And I say, no, I didn't. They say, yeah, you did. And I say, prove it. And they'd go to your place and they'd say, well, here's a gun. And I'll say, yeah. How do you know I sold it to them?
Right.
They don't. Because we don't register our guns.
Right.
We're not supposed to, except for handguns. In
Michigan, yeah.
There's a few other states, but generally, most states don't have any gun registration.
Right.
And the federal government is not supposed to, by law, keep records of gun purchases.
Right. And so
it's unenforceable. It's a stupid thing. And what the NRA says is, listen, there's 80,000 people a year that are trying to buy guns that have been turned down because they come up as a felon. And how many have been prosecuted? 44.
Right.
So if they really want to crack down on this, use the law that's already in place.
Look at the trend in that in recent years while Obama's been president, and the number of prosecutions for those types of crimes have gone down.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's decreased under him.
Right.
What he's saying he wants to do, which by the
he's
law,
not doing now.
By the way, has been the law since he's been president. He could have been enforcing this the entire time.
In this internet loophole type of thing, that's crap
garbage,
too.
Absolute garbage.
Now, if you and I communicate on the internet, and I say, hey, Nate, I got a gun for sale. Do you want it? And you come over to my house, and we're within our own state, and we follow all the federal laws. Is that an internet sale because we've communicated?
It doesn't matter, but we're not dealers.
But if I want to buy a gun from a dealer in California, we've got to go through several.
Or from anybody in California.
Right.
Even a private sale, if they're going to ship it to you, it has to go through a license holder.
So, well, that's like that sound bit we played before the holiday break, where we had the director of the damn FBI was asked, how do I get the gun I order online? And he said, well, I assume they ship it to your house.
Yeah.
He had no idea. And this is a guy that was consulted by Obama last week. So he wouldn't look like an idiot when he did his little talk, which he still looked like an idiot. When the FBI director doesn't know the law, how can you go to him and get consulted by him and have anything worthwhile? So that was completely wrong. He either doesn't know or he's lying.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things was he wants to license people so they do background checks. Another thing, I saw Alan Corwin, who writes a lot of gun books and stuff, and he's got a website. Yep. He says he also wants to crack down on trusts because you can get firearm trusts for to keep your firearms, in a trust name. A lot of people do that when they want to buy, if they have to get a license for a suppressor or if they're getting an automatic weapon. And so he says he wants to crack down on criminals who use trust. Does that mean everybody's a criminal that has a trust?
Yeah, right.
How many criminals hire a lawyer to set up a trust?
And it turns out if you're a criminal,
and then how would
you're doing it, it's illegal anyway.
How would the feds know that? All right, so that's crap. It's illegal to even try it. Oh, let's see. He talked about the internet sales, which is ridiculous. He wants to give $50 million or so to treat mental illness, but that's got to be approved by Congress. It's already failed several times.
And Obamacare, right?
Require firearms that are lost in transit? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought that was already a requirement, and wouldn't
what
require that firearms that are lost in transit between a manufacturer and a seller are reported. I don't know how you would enforce that. How would they know?
Well, it's required, Brian.
I don't know what, on the manufacturing end, I don't know if they let the feds know and say, hey, I'm sending 15 handguns to Joe Blow gun store.
Here are the serial numbers?
And
I mean, what?
And then, they check out Joe Blow's gun store and they never got those guns. I don't know how that can be enforced.
Yeah.
Hire a task force to keep track of illegal gun trafficking. Again, how do you do that? $4 million for additional personnel. Whew. 200 more ATF agents. We're trying to eliminate the ATF. Now he's hiring more people.
Yeah, of course. He's not trying to eliminate the ATF.
Oh, boy. No, I mean, we would like to do that.
Yes, we would.
So anyways, let's see. Smart guns. Oh, Lord. Who wants a smart gun?
Look,
you certainly, and one of the things they say, just real quick, one of the things they say is we want to do that. We want to arm all of the police officers with smart guns so that if a gun is wrestled away, which happens less and less than it has,
right,
because we have retention holsters now.
Yep.
Or they do. If they wrestle away the gun, they can't use it against the officer.
Right.
So how many police officers can go, I can't even keep my cell phone working with a battery.
Yeah. Look,
how am I going to keep my firearm? And am I going to count on that firearm when I need it that it's going to work?
If we can lock our cell phones and not let children get into them, and if children can't open a pill bottle, surely we can do something better with firearms.
Yeah.
That was part of his speech.
Right,
That's what he said.
Right.
Before he cried those tears and then wiped them.
And unfortunately, you usually have to ask your kids to help you open up those damn pill bottles. Because you can't get into them. I do. And how do you work your phone? The point is smart gun technology, not only is it expensive, but nobody wants it. Yeah, Law enforcement doesn't want it. Industry doesn't want it.
Here's the deal. I think
gun owners don't want it.
I think it's cool, right? Because I think technology is cool. And if you want one, by all means, go ahead and buy one.
But they want to make it every gun is equipped with this. Which it's impossible to do. You could have every new gun manufactured, but there's still hundreds of millions of guns out there already. Right. So it's much ado about nothing.
Well, anyway, I mean, but the problem is not much ado about nothing. He's spending money or trying to spend money to research how to research these things. Yeah. Right? I mean,
frankly, I don't think he really cares. Especially, I just don't think he does.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think this is all political theater. I think he's just
it is political theater, but I think he's using political theater and crying, which is that was political theater. I think he's using it to get closer to something that he actually does want.
Well, I don't know
because is more power.
No, I don't know about that. He's worried about this. His last year, he's worried about his legacy. He's already got Obamacare.
I don't know.
No, he is. He already has Obamacare. He's happy with that, and he's the first black president. Those are two things he has that he's very proud of. If he gets gun control, that would be great. I don't think he really cares. I think his legacy.
You know
is
what?
set.
I think he does.
No.
I think he does care.
I don't think he cares about that. No.
I don't think he cares about the children and about safety of people. I don't think he cares about that at all. That's not it. Right? It's a control thing. It's not about the guns. It's not about. It's not about the children.
Especially executive orders that can be, rescinded by the next administration.
Do you see? Speaking of Obamacare,
but apparently that's never happened.
Speaking of Obamacare, he was given a bill. I don't know if he's seen it yet, but he was given a bill that sort of repeals Obamacare and defunds Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes.
I bet it'll get vetoed.
But do they have enough to override the veto?
They do not.
Yeah.
Well, the Republicans don't. I mean, maybe they could get some Democrat. Maybe Trump could pay off some Democrats.
Yeah, that would be nice
to vote for it. That'd be interesting. Do you think he would do that as president? If we elected Trump president, do you think he would pay people to agree with him and follow him?
No.
I mean, because
I also know that he wouldn't repeal Obamacare because he is a supporter of social medicine.
I think he would repeal it.
No,
I bet he would.
No, he wouldn't.
I bet he would.
No, he wouldn't.
I bet
he might modify it a little bit, but he will. No, he's already
if he had the bill on his desk. I bet he would sign
in
it.
his history. He is a pro-social.
Yeah, but what we're talking 20 years.
People don't change.
20, 30. Oh, come on, people! Look at you.
What about me?
Look at you.
I have not changed in 50 years.
Look. AdOtShow.com. Look at the history of our shows. Listen to some of the first shows that we did. Okay, and you can then listen to one of our first shows.
That wasn't
me. It didn't sound like you because our audio was worse than it is now.
That wasn't
listen to those shows and then listen to a recent show. Or if you're listening now, you don't have to listen to another one. I won't bore you with that. Listen to the difference. You can look at the consistency of one of the hosts who has not changed their stance on anything.
Yeah,
and the other host you can see going from public art, we need public education, we need to invest in our kids publicly, and the government does great things.
Hey,
now where
you're wasting time.
I'm not wasting time. I'm using up time because we don't have enough to talk about.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
We don't have that much. We have to take a break.
Look, we're going to talk about Oregon Park taken over by Patriots.
We are, and you know what you didn't mention at the beginning, which is the sign of a host who's changed his mind over the last couple of years?
What's that?
We have a guest.
Yeah, we have someone from the Michigan Militia. He's been on our show before, Michael Lackamore. He's, I think he's like their spokesperson or whatever for one of the largest Michigan militia groups. He's going to come in and talk a little bit about the Bundys and the Oregon Park and the Hammonds and their ranch and their terrorism convictions and all that. Also got a soundbite by Ron Paul from 1997. That was kind of ominous. And we've got all kinds of stuff. You hear about the Chicago police telling the airport police who are not armed to run and hide if there's any problems at the airport?
Yeah, at O'Hare, right? Yeah.
300 aviation officers. They're law enforcement officers, but they don't give them guns.
It's an airport, Brian.
Why would you need a gun?
Guns are dangerous in the airport. Well, except the other police.
So their memo is run and hide.
So you wonder, are they there to stop skateboarders? I mean, really?
Probably.
Why are they there?
Probably drunk flyers.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's presence. It's just a presence. You got to put a presence out there. The illusion, the safety theater.
Yeah, but the I guess
that's what it is. But when the bullets start flying, run and hide. Which I guess
it's not bad advice for anybody.
It's great advice. But the officers are humiliated by it because, they've been trained to rush to the sound of bullets and all that.
They think they're in France or something.
Right, and that's what it's like.
Yep.
Well, first they advise to evacuate the area. If you can't evacuate, then hide.
Evacuate, like get people to leave? Or evacuate themselves?
Themselves from the area.
Yeah. And their bowels and everything else. And then run.
That's not very nice. All right, let's do...
well, wouldn't you?
Let's do... okay.
Let's do what? You want to do a joke or something ridiculous?
No, I don't want to do a joke, but I have presidential trivia.
Oh, yeah, do that.
In this day in history. Great. So let's do this day in history right now because we won't get a chance to go to it. Because this one's kind of important. On this day in 1789, what happened, Nate?
You were born?
Ooh, that hurt.
Oh, 1789.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you said 16.
Yeah. My dad was born. And
well.
America's first presidential election was held. I won't tell you who won. Voters cast ballots. Only white men who own property were allowed to vote, of course, which, is horrible, horrible. And Washington was sworn into office April 30th, 1789. That's all I have to say about that. Here's the trivia question, because we got to go to break, right?
That was a trivia question.
I mean,
oh, that was
this day in history,
framed as a trivia question.
Hey, first American election. was held on this day in 1789.
That's good. That's weird.
Cool.
Everyone knows